My girlfriend uploaded a selfie captioned, "Finally experiencing the energy I always deserved sparkles," less than a month after leaving me for a local influencer. I didn't respond or ask questions. Months later, she deleted every photo after his private messages to multiple women leaked publicly across social media and completely destroyed his reputation. "You've been so stable lately," Naomi said, and somehow she made it sound like an insult. She was looking at her phone when she said it, not at me. I remember sitting across from her at the kitchen table, coffee going cold between us, and thinking, stable? Like that was a problem. I didn't respond. I just watched her scroll. And something in the back of my mind filed that moment away quietly, the way it always did when something fell off but couldn't be named yet. That was 3 weeks before she left. Before the selfie. Before everything. If you enjoy real stories like this, subscribe, because what happened next changed everything for me. I should tell you something about myself first. I'm not the kind of person who makes scenes. Never have been. When something bothers me, I go quiet. Not cold, just quiet. I think before I speak. I watch before I react. Growing up, my older brother Randall used to say I had the emotional range of a chess player. "You never just feel something," he'd say. "You calculate it." Maybe he was right. Maybe that's why I missed what was happening right in front of me for so long. Or maybe I saw it and just didn't want to believe it was real. Naomi and I had been together for almost 3 years when things started shifting. We met through mutual friends in our late 20s. Both of us living in that specific kind of Brooklyn life where you're not quite settled, but you're pretending you are. I had a decent apartment near Prospect Park. She was subletting closer to Bushwick, going out 4 nights a week, building what she called her creative network. She was electric when I met her. Genuinely. The kind of person who walks into a room and makes everyone nearby feel like something interesting is about to happen. I was drawn to that. Most people were. We moved in together after about a year. Things were good. Then they were fine. Then they were stable, apparently. Looking back, I can trace the shift to a specific weekend in late autumn. She went to a rooftop event with her friend Christine, a launch party for some local brand I'd never heard of. I didn't go. I had an early Saturday morning the next day and told her to have fun. She came home buzzing, not just from drinks, from something. Eyes wide, already on her phone before she even took off her jacket. "You should have come," she said, but not really to me. More to the room. More to whoever she was texting. "Who'd you meet?" I asked. "Just people," she said. "Creative people." She said creative the way some people say famous. I didn't push it. I should have. His name was Victor. I'd learned that later. Victor had around 80,000 followers on Instagram. Not massive by industry standards, but enormous in certain Brooklyn circles. Fitness content mostly, but drifting into lifestyle. Restaurant openings. Brand partnerships. Photos that looked effortless, but clearly weren't. The kind of guy who always looked slightly better in photos than in person and knew exactly how to use that gap to his advantage. Naomi never mentioned him directly at first, but he started appearing at the edge of things. A tag location here. A reposted story there. His profile appeared in her following list about 2 weeks after that rooftop party. I noticed. I didn't say anything. The phone thing started around that same time. Not obvious at first. Just small shifts. She'd angle the screen away when I sat down next to her. She'd laugh at something, and when I asked what was funny, she'd say nothing, just a meme, and keep scrolling. She started sleeping with the phone face down on her nightstand instead of charging it across the room the way she always had. Small things. Nothing you could point to directly. Nothing that would survive a direct accusation. But the pattern was unmistakable if you were paying attention. And I was always paying attention. The first real moment I remember feeling it, that deep stomach recognition that something had already changed, was a Tuesday evening in November. I came home to find her doing her makeup. Full makeup. On a Tuesday. At 7 p.m. Going somewhere. I asked. Christine invited me to this thing. Pop-up gallery. You didn't mention it. It was last minute. She didn't look at me when she said it. Just kept working on her eyeliner in the bathroom mirror with the kind of focused concentration I hadn't seen from her in months. I stood in the doorway for a moment. "Have fun," I said. And she left. I sat on the couch and stared at the wall for a long time. Not angry. Not panicking. Just quiet. The chess player, calculating. She got home after midnight. I was still up. Reading. She seemed surprised to find me awake, then quickly covered it. "You're up late." "Good book," I said. She smiled in that way that doesn't use the eyes and went to wash her face. I turned the page. Didn't read a single word on it. 2 weeks later, I saw Victor's account for the first time. Not because I went looking, because Naomi left her Instagram open on the shared iPad we used for streaming, and his profile was sitting right there in the search history. Visited multiple times. That same week, I put the iPad down, closed the app, made coffee, didn't say anything. But I started paying closer attention to her posts. Something had shifted in her content, which sounds like a strange thing to notice about your girlfriend, but when you live with someone and suddenly their online presence starts telling a different story than their daily life, you notice. Her captions changed. More aspirational, more energy-focused, more I'm leveling up language that she'd never used before. A selfie from a rooftop I didn't recognize, becoming. A photo at a restaurant I'd never heard of. This city keeps surprising me. A gym mirror shot with new workout clothes. Investing in myself this season. Each one got hundreds of likes. Victor's handle appeared in the comments of at least 2 of them. Fire emojis. She didn't respond publicly, but she responded. I could see the notification disappear when I happened to glance at her phone. I want to be clear about something. I never snooped through her messages. I never unlocked her phone. I never went through her things. Not because I wasn't suspicious, but because I think there's a version of knowledge you can't come back from, and I wasn't ready for it yet. Some part of me was still hoping the picture I was building in my head was wrong. That the pieces meant something different than what they looked like. That the Tuesday gallery and the phone angles and the fire emojis were just coincidences stacking up badly. I held on to that hope longer than I should have. The holidays came. We did the things couples do. Her family's dinner. My family's dinner. A party with friends where we laughed and held hands and looked, to everyone watching, exactly like what we'd always been. I remember my friend Stuart pulling me aside at that party. You too good, he asked. Yeah, I said. Why? He looked at me for a second too long. Nothing. Never mind. I should have pushed him. I didn't. January arrived hard and cold, and something in her energy shifted again. More urgent now. More restless. She started going to a new gym, one in a different neighborhood that took her 40 minutes to get to when there were 3 closer options. She started spending more time on her phone in the bathroom. She started commenting on couples we knew, not critically, more like evaluating. Don't you think Philip and Wendy look bored? She said one night, watching a story on her phone. Philip was a friend of mine from college. Wendy was his girlfriend of 5 years. They look happy to me, I said. They look settled, she said. Like it was the same thing as bored. Like settled was the enemy. I looked at her. She kept scrolling. The conversation that ended everything happened on a Saturday morning in late January. No build-up. No fight the night before. No dramatic tension in the room. Just coffee, morning light. Her sitting across from me at the same kitchen table where she'd called me stable like it was a diagnosis. She put her phone down, looked at me directly, and said, very calmly, that she didn't think this was working anymore. I asked her what she meant. She said she felt like she'd been shrinking. She said she needed more energy in her life. More movement. More experience. She said it wasn't about me, then said a version of it that was very much about me. I just feel like we want different things now, she said. You want quiet. I want alive. That one landed. I won't pretend it didn't. I sat with it for a moment. Then I asked the only question I actually wanted answered. Is there someone else? A pause. Not long, but long enough. I met someone, she said. I didn't plan it. It just happened. I nodded. Didn't speak. She waited for the explosion. I could feel her waiting. It didn't come. Okay, I said, and I got up and refilled my coffee. She was out within 2 weeks. Efficient about it. Boxes, a friend's car, 2 trips. The apartment felt enormous after she left. I moved a chair to fill the empty space where her bookshelf had been. Then I went back to my life. I'm not going to dramatize the weeks that followed. They were hard in the private way breakups are hard. Not dramatic, not cinematic, just the daily low-level ache of reaching for something that isn't there anymore. I talked to Randall, talked to Stuart, went to work, came home, started running again, which I hadn't done in over a year. Stayed off her social media. That part was deliberate. I made a decision not to watch what came next. I failed at that for exactly 19 days. It was Christine, Naomi's friend, who broke my resolve. Not intentionally. We followed each other on Instagram, and she posted a story from what looked like a rooftop party that I recognized from Naomi's old posts. And in the background of one frame, Naomi, standing next to Victor, his arm not quite around her, but close. Both of them laughing at something off-screen. She looked, and I hated noticing this, genuinely happy. That particular kind of happy that's also meant to be seen. I put the phone down, went for a run, Came back. Didn't look again. I lasted another week before I checked her profile directly. I told myself I was just confirming what I already knew. That it was information, not obsession. Her grid had transformed. The photos were brighter, more curated. The composition sharper, the influence of someone who knew how to frame a shot. She was tagged in his posts now. One from a restaurant opening. One from what looked like a weekend trip somewhere with water in the background. One from a fitness event with her in matching athletic where she definitely didn't own when she left. 3 weeks. It had been 3 weeks. I scrolled to the most recent post. It was a selfie. Her, alone, somewhere with good light, and a view behind her. She looked beautiful. The caption read, "Finally experiencing the energy I always deserved." I read it twice, closed the app, sat in my quiet apartment, and let that sentence do what it was designed to do. The energy I always deserved. Meaning, by implication, that she hadn't been getting it before. That I had been the absence of something. The drain. The reason she'd been settling. 3 years. Finally, I put my phone across the room and didn't pick it up again for the rest of the night. I didn't comment, didn't DM her, didn't text, didn't ask mutual friends about it, didn't do any of the things that would have told her she'd landed the hit she was aiming for. I just didn't respond. Because here's what I understood, even then. That post wasn't really for her followers. It was for me, specifically designed for the possibility that I might see it. And the worst possible thing I could do, for her narrative, was react. So I didn't. Life moved. Not fast, but steadily. I got a promotion at work. Not a loud one. Just more responsibility, better pay, a project I'd been building toward for 18 months. I started cooking again, which I'd stopped doing when we were together because she preferred ordering out. Ran my first half marathon in March. Stuart ran it with me. We were terrible. I didn't care. I stopped checking her profile. Not dramatically. Not because I made some big declaration about moving on. Just, one week I checked it, the next week I didn't think to. The first crack appeared in April. I heard about it from Stuart, who heard it from someone who followed Victor's comments section closely enough to notice when something changed. A woman, nobody anyone in our circle knew, had posted something vague on her own story. No names, but enough specifics that people who knew the local scene understood who she was referring to. Something about being misled. About finding out she wasn't the only one. About a man with a public image that didn't match his private behavior. The post got reshared, then deleted. But not before screenshots. There are always screenshots. I won't pretend I felt nothing when I heard this. That would be dishonest. There was something, not quite satisfaction, more like the specific feeling of a math problem finally confirming what you suspected the answer was. But I didn't say anything. Didn't text Naomi. Didn't post anything. Just noted it and moved on. May was when it escalated. Another woman, this one with a larger following, someone tangentially connected to the same brand/fitness/lifestyle circuit, posted something less vague. Screenshots, DMs, Victor's words, in his own typed voice, to at least 2 different women. The overlap was clear. The timeline was damning. One of the conversations started before Naomi was in the picture. One of them started after. Within 48 hours, the screenshots had moved beyond their original posting into wider circulation. Shared by accounts I'd never heard of. Commented on by people who had nothing to do with the original situation. Victor's comments section became a war zone. He turned comments off, then reposted a video addressing false narratives. The video made things worse. Within a day, 2 more women had posted their own screenshots. Different conversations. Same patterns. The same performed intimacy. The same lines delivered to different people, almost word for word. I heard from Christine. Not a call, a DM, which felt appropriate given everything. "Hey, I just wanted you to know I always thought you were good to her. I'm sorry about how things went." I thanked her. Asked how Naomi was doing. A long pause before the reply. "Not great." I finally went back to Naomi's profile. Not out of gloating, genuinely out of something closer to concern. 3 years is 3 years. You don't stop caring about someone like a light switch. The selfie was gone. Not just that one. The rooftop photos. The restaurant opening. The weekend trip with the water in the background. The fitness event photo. All of it. Her grid had been quietly gutted. The most recent posts were from before November, before the rooftop party where she'd met him, before any of this had started. She'd edited her own archive into a version of herself that had nothing to do with the last 6 months. As if she could just cut the chapter out. As if the people who'd seen it would forget. A mutual friend, A woman named Gloria, who'd known both of us since before we started dating, reached out around this time. We got coffee. I hadn't asked for it. She just said she wanted to check in. We sat in a place near the park and she talked carefully around things for a few minutes before getting to it. I should have said something sooner, she said. I saw some stuff. Mutual people talking. It's fine. She was posting a lot, Gloria said. Like a lot. And people noticed. Some people thought it was. She paused. A lot. People perform when they're convincing themselves of something. I said. Gloria looked at me. Are you okay? Yeah, I said. And I actually meant it. I've thought about this a lot since then. About what Naomi was actually chasing when she left. I don't think it was Victor specifically. I think it was a feeling. The feeling of being chosen, publicly, visibly, by someone that the algorithm had decided was worth paying attention to. I think she'd been measuring her life against something she was seeing online for a long time. And at some point the gap between her real life and that aspirational version got uncomfortable enough that she needed to close it. I was part of the gap. Not because I was unkind. Not because I didn't love her. But because quiet, stable love doesn't photograph well. It doesn't generate engagement. It doesn't prove anything to anyone watching. And she needed proof. I don't say any of this with bitterness. I mean it plainly, the way you describe weather. Some people need an audience for their happiness. Need to watch other people watching them be happy. Need the caption, the location tag, the fire emoji in the comments. Without that confirmation loop, the feeling doesn't feel real to them. I couldn't give her that. Not because I was withholding it, but because I never understood why she needed it in the first place. Victor's page went quiet through June. A few low engagement posts. No stories. Comments still off. The brand partnerships stopped appearing. The restaurant tags dried up. He posted a photo of a sunrise with no caption in early July and got a fraction of his normal engagement. The comments that did come through were not kind. Naomi's page stayed stripped. She started posting again, slowly, in the summer, but different. Quieter. Less performed. A coffee cup. A walk somewhere. A book she was reading. No captions pushing energy or deserving or leveling up. Just regular life. The kind she used to have. She texted me in August. I stared at the notification for a while before opening it. Hey, I know this is probably strange. I just wanted to say I'm sorry for how I handled things. You deserved better than that. I hope you're okay. I read it several times. Then I put the phone down. Went for a run. Came back. The message was still there. I typed a reply. Then I deleted it. Not out of cruelty. Not out of a desire to punish her. But because some things, some endings, don't need a response to be complete. The chapter was already done. My silence wasn't anger. It was just the clearest thing I could offer. I saw her once, in September, across the street from a coffee place in Park Slope, on a Saturday morning. She was alone. She looked fine, rested, even. She hadn't seen me. I thought about crossing the street. Didn't. Just kept walking. Some versions of closure don't need the other person present. I'm writing this from the same apartment. The chair I moved to fill the space where her bookshelf used to be is still there. I meant to move it back eventually. Now it just belongs where it is. The half-marathon medal from March is on my desk next to my monitor. I have a trip planned for October, something I'd wanted to do for years and kept deferring. Life is quiet. Genuinely, sustainably quiet. Not the absence of something quiet that she mistook it for. The other kind. She never reposted the selfie. Finally experiencing the energy I always deserved. That caption, meant to reach me, meant to sting, meant to announce that she had traded up and moved on and was winning some competition I didn't know we were having. It lived on the internet for less than 2 months. Then it was gone. And everything she'd built around it, the image, the posts, the proof of a better life, disappeared with it. Some people spend years building something real and quiet and honest. And some people burn it down chasing a feeling that only exists in other people's eyes. The difference doesn't show up right away, but eventually, it always shows up. Her last photo stayed deleted.